JD Vance roasts the media for their coverage following the person dying in that incident with ICE the other day. Let's take a look.
How does being part of that network justify being shot?
Well, being part of the network doesn't justify being shot, but ramming an ICE officer with your car, that's what justifies being shot. It's not a good thing, by the way, but when you force somebody to engage in self-defense, it's almost a preposterous question. I'm not saying that funding some of this stuff justifies capital punishment. Nobody would suggest that. The reason this woman is dead is because she tried to ram somebody with her car and that guy acted in self-defense. That is why she lost her life, and that is the tragedy.
I'm going to get to Tim Pool's quick breakdown following the JD Vance statement. I think Tim Pool has the best breakdown of this I've seen so far. We'll let JD continue.
And that is the tragedy. Now, there may be other violations of the law and other penalties that are associated with those violations of the law. For example, if you are funding violence against our law enforcement officers, I'm not a prosecutor. My guess is that's not the sort of thing that earns capital punishment, but it should sure as hell earn you a few years in prison if you're funding the effort to try to assault our law enforcement officers. What is, I'm sorry guys, what's going on here? You guys are meant to report the truth. How have you let yourself become agents of propaganda of a radical fringe that's making it harder for us to enforce our laws? You just asked me a question that...
It's a good question.
...presumed that
the radical left still has way too much power. They run around. They got a bunch of politicians saying a bunch of totally unhinged things that sound like direct support for their crazy protest, their crazy agitation. I think JD is cooking here. He's almost done.
That the reason why this woman died is because she was engaged in legitimate protest. She tried to run somebody over with her car, and the guy defended himself when that happened. Next question.
Okay, we're going to get now to Tim Pool's breakdown. It's quite quick. Here we go. Here we are now, Tim Pool going over that clip. You see some graphic footage in this clip, I would say. You don't see exactly what happens. A little warning there. Here's Tim.
Let's go back to the lie. Here's the officer. Here's the vehicle reversing. The officer is not in front of the vehicle. She reverses, and now he is in front of the vehicle. He initially is to the right of the vehicle. By all means, argue he should not have placed himself in this position. We're talking about seconds. Now watch this. The vehicle stops here. The wheels are pointed left. As you can see.
So I'd also add here, because I don't think Tim brings this up. If you're in the vehicle, obviously the person is probably in a state of panic or something. But first of all, what are you doing in this situation? The officer there, it doesn't show it on this video, but he's trying to open the door. They're obviously trying to get her to leave the vehicle. Why would you put yourself in that position? It's clearly very reckless to do that. And then at the moment, in a couple seconds here, where there's obviously somebody in front of you, unless you're just totally not paying attention to that person, in that case, you obviously shouldn't be operating a vehicle in this state. She just starts totally speeding off when there's a person right in front of her vehicle. So
the officer is standing right in front of the vehicle. Now watch this. Right there. You see the front tire? Watch the front tire right here. The wheels are pointed left, and she accelerates. The wheel spins out on ice.
Exactly. So there's a guy right in front of your vehicle. You're obviously supposed to be looking forward when you drive, for the most part. You're just speeding, like you're trying to drive so fast that your wheels are spinning when there's a person right in front of you. So, I mean, that's the biggest mistake you could probably make as a driver. Plus, with all the other factors, the fact that law enforcement is actively trying to get you to exit the vehicle, not a great idea. I mean, you could say you don't deserve to die for this mistake, but oh my gosh, man.
And with the wheels pointed at the officer, having spun out already, meaning the officer can hear the engine rev with it.
Meaning no one deserves to, I would say, for the most part, I don't know, die, but it's just a tough situation. But anyway.
Rev with it pointed at him, he draws his weapon. And in a second, because this is slow mode, she then
So look, like,
begins to turn.
The car is driving right at this guy. And again, it's a messy situation, as Tim says. It's a split-second decision, but now this guy here, this law enforcement person in front of the car, again, I think Tim even mentioned it, you can argue he's putting himself in a bad position there, but I don't think he's expecting, though. I mean, you can only go around the car two ways. You go in front or you go behind. People walk in front of cars all the time. He's now is in a position where there's a wheel spinning, engine roaring, a car is going right at him. So he's got to make a decision here real quick, or he's not wearing a helmet. He might just be thinking, I'm about to get run over by this like multiple 1,000-pound vehicle. What's that gonna mean for me?
Turn right, hitting him, and he shoots.
So, I mean, terrible situation, of course, but I'll finish the video there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to. Have a great day.